second installment of our Alumni Conversations virtual series. My name is Hannah Gambrell. I am the Alumni Relations Manager at the UNT Health Science Center. We are joined today by an alumna of the HSC Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, Emily Cropper. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you. So I guess we'll just jump right in. So first, can you tell us what degree or program you graduated from at the UNT HSC, and then what field you're currently working in?
Yes, my name is Emily Cropper, and I graduated with a Master of Science in the program from the UNT Health Science Center Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences in spring of 2019. And I'm currently working as a graduate fellow, visiting scientist in DNA research and analysis in the Research and Support Unit at the FBI laboratory. My fellowship is through ORISE, or the Oak Ridge Research Institute for Science and Education, and the FBI laboratory sponsors my fellowship.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I know we're going to get kind of more into what you do now later, but first, why did you choose the Health Science Center?
I chose HSC. I had heard a lot about it, and I knew they were a top-notch school and had a very well-respected forensic genetics program.
And then what made you choose forensic genetics? Is that something that you kind of always been interested in, or did that kind of occur maybe later in your career or life, or was it something that you kind of always had an interest in?
I did make a career change.
Okay.
So I made a career change into the biomedical sciences about, I would say, 5 years ago, and had new exposure to several science courses. And I developed a particular fascination with DNA and genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was excited that with an MS in forensic genetics, I would be able to support law enforcement as a DNA analyst and help to bring justice to areas of missing persons, human trafficking, homicide, and rape. And I would be able to help seek justice in the name of science for humankind.
That's awesome. And you know, we appreciate obviously everything that you do and contribute toward that. So I know we just held our graduation at the UNT Health Science Center. So kind of, can you walk us through what your post-graduation job search experience was like? You know, did you find it pretty easy, or did you encounter some struggles, or just kind of talk us through what that process was like?
Well, I was actually very lucky because I was lucky in that I started the visiting scientist program my last semester at UNT Health Science Center. Since the plan was to conduct my thesis experiments at the FBI and return to Texas to defend my thesis, then I had a job already when I graduated. So I just worked on my thesis there and then went to Texas and defend, and then I went back to my job and continued to work on projects there.
That's awesome. So how did you end up in your current role, and can you kind of give us an overview or kind of talk about what it is that you do now?
Sure. So through networking, actually, at AFS, or the American Association of Forensic Conference, for which I was actually awarded a travel award from the UNT Health Science Center. In Seattle, spring of 2018 is when the conference was, and that's where I met my current mentor at the FBI. And through constant communication, patients, I landed my current position. So I currently conduct research, evaluation, and testing of emerging DNA technologies. And this in turn helps to support the DNA casework at the FBI laboratory. So the visiting scientist program specifically is a research unit that supports the entire FBI laboratory by developing new capabilities, improving existing processes, and strengthening the scientific foundations of forensic science. So chemistry, anthropology, toxicology, geology, genetics, microbiology, statistics. So as you can imagine, there's a wide array of visiting scientists there, and smart minds to put to the task.
Sure. Well, I think that's really interesting. We don't have many, or I would think, alumni that have gone into a field like that. So I think that that's really interesting. And I'm sure that, the visiting science program is something that we can definitely share. For anyone watching, we will post a link to that below. But you mentioned that you had a mentor in the FBI. So kind of, can you talk about maybe that relationship or any other influencers or mentors that have helped you, throughout your journey in your career?
Yes, I was influenced a lot by my organic chemistry teacher, professor, who had a unique, interesting, and fundamental subject, in my opinion. And Dr. Joseph Warren was another role model for me. He was the director. He was the director of the Forensic Genetics program, and he was a compassionate and trustworthy mentor that helped me understand the real world application of forensic genetics. Lots of good stories. He's a great storyteller. So yeah, it was enjoyable to work under him. Mike Coble, he is the current assistant director of the Center for Human ID at UNT Health Science Center, and he was my major professor. I was very lucky. He continues to be a role model with his expertise in challenging DNA samples and DNA mixture interpretation by probabilistic genotyping. And incredibly grateful for my current mentor at the FBI, for whom I continue to learn a great deal about molecular biology, mitochondrial and nuclear DNA research, and how to be a better scientist.
That's great. I know that, having a mentor and people that can kind of, you can look up to, but also help guide you through career is super important. So I'm glad that you have that. Not one, but two, more than one person to kind of help you. I think that's wonderful. So something that I think a lot of professionals, no matter their field or what stage, of their career they're in, struggle with is, work-life balance and kind of maintaining that. Do you have any tips or anything that you do to help kind of maintain that work-life balance?
Well, I make sure to work hard, but I also leave time for friends and family on weekends. And since COVID, Skyping frequently with friends and family while self-isolating at home.
Yeah.
I apologize. That's my dog. I don't know if you can.
Probably another way to maintain your work-life balance with your dog.
Well, she actually barked on cue because I also, my next thing I was going to say is I also have a dog to take for walks, run with, and have some fun with canine scent work that I do with her.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And that actually, the canine scent work introduced me to odor forensics with her. And I got really interested in forensics at that point. I was starting to get into it. So yeah.
That's really neat. Yeah, I think, like I said, it's important to, especially during times like this when our physical interactions are so limited, to make sure that we're staying in touch with friends and families and finding ways to get out there and maintain our sanity, like going for walks with our pets and things like that. So I think that's great. So like we talked about earlier, I think, your field is really interesting, and I think it's something that a lot of people are going to be interested to hear and learn more about. So do you have any advice or what advice or tips would you give to students or alumni, or really anyone who might want to pursue a career in forensic science, DNA technologies, or even who might want to work for the FBI one day?
Sure. Well, I would say one should possess a passion for the forensic sciences, DNA and genetics, if that's what area of forensic science you enjoy. I would also strongly suggest an internship somewhere in the field. I actually, well, there are internships at the FBI as well. I conducted an internship at the Fort Worth Police Department DNA Crime Lab in the fall of 2018. And this was an amazing experience, and I learned a great deal about what the job would be like on a day-to-day basis. It was fantastic. And I will say that the FBI motto is fidelity, bravery, and integrity. So any person with a strong moral character that follows the true essence of these three words, I would say would be a strong candidate for the FBI.
Definitely.
Also a very, curiosity and a love of science and, finding out the answers, solving puzzles.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Those are all the questions we had. And I know, I think, like I said, people are going to be really excited to hear your story and kind of hear about what you do. And, we'll offer the link that you shared for your visiting scientist program, and definitely put that out in case there is anyone watching that might be interested in going into either forensic science, DNA technologies, or working for the FBI like you. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone watching. If you have any questions for the Alumni Association or for Emily, you can contact us at alumni@unthsc.edu, and we can get you some answers, or maybe even connect you with Emily if you have any questions. So thank you, everyone.